For thousands of years, people didn't just tell stories about monsters, they feared them. Sailors watched the black ocean for tentacles. Villagers blamed strange sounds in the woods on spirits. Ancient warriors carved dragons into stone, and entire cultures passed down warnings about creatures that lived beyond the firelight. Some creatures were born from fear. Some came from religion, nature, storms, bones, disease, and things people could not explain. And some may have started with something real. Today, we're opening the MythicLoreVault and looking at 10 mythical creatures people once believed were real. Number 1. Dragons. Of all the creatures in myth, few are as powerful as the dragon. Nearly every part of the world has some version of one. In Europe, dragons were often winged beasts that breathed fire, guarded treasure, and destroyed villages. In China, dragons were usually wise, powerful, and connected to rain, rivers, storms, and imperial strength. In Norse myth, dragons were tied to greed, curses, and ancient treasure hoards. That is what makes dragons so fascinating. They were not just one story from one place. They appeared again and again across different cultures, sometimes as monsters, sometimes as gods, sometimes as symbols of power. But why? Some believe ancient people may have found dinosaur bones or giant reptile fossils and imagined what kind of creature they belonged to. Others think dragons came from natural fears: snakes, crocodiles, fire, storms, and the unknown wilderness. To a village living near dark forests, deep caves, and dangerous animals, a dragon made sense. It was the ultimate predator, a creature too large to fight, too ancient to understand, and too powerful to ignore. Number 2. The Kraken. Long before people had submarines, cameras, or modern ocean science, sailors crossed dark waters with no idea what lived beneath them. And in those waters, they told stories of the Kraken. The Kraken was said to be a massive sea creature, large enough to drag ships beneath the waves. Some stories described it as having giant tentacles. Others claimed it could rise from the ocean like an island, fooling sailors before pulling them down into the deep. The terrifying part is that the Kraken legend may have been inspired by something real. Giant squid and colossal squid do exist. For centuries, most people never saw them alive. They only saw pieces of them washed ashore, strange tentacles, giant eyes, or bodies half rotted by the sea. To sailors who already feared storms, shipwrecks, and drowning, it would not take much imagination to turn a giant squid into a monster. The ocean was already deadly. The Kraken gave that danger a face, or maybe more accurately, 100 grasping arms. Number 3. The Wendigo. The Wendigo is one of the darkest creatures in North American folklore. It comes from the traditions of several Algonquian-speaking peoples, and it is often connected to winter, starvation, greed, and the terrifying idea of a hunger that can never be satisfied. The Wendigo is usually described as a thin, corpse-like creature, starving no matter how much it eats. In some versions, it was once human, a person who became corrupted by selfishness, cannibalism, or desperation in the frozen wilderness. That is what makes the Wendigo so disturbing. It is not just a monster hiding in the trees. It is a warning about what extreme hunger can do. A warning about losing your humanity. A warning about becoming so consumed by need that you turn into something monstrous. In the deep cold, when food was gone and the forest was silent, the Wendigo represented the fear of survival pushed too far. Not every monster has claws because it wants to kill. Some monsters are born from hunger. Number 4. The Griffin. The Griffin was a majestic creature with the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle. To ancient people, this combination made perfect sense. The lion was the king of beasts on land. The eagle was the king of the sky. Put them together, and you had a creature of incredible power, nobility, and watchfulness. Griffins were often seen as guardians. They protected treasure, sacred places, and divine secrets. In ancient art, they appeared in the cultures of Greece, Persia, Egypt, and beyond. Some stories claimed griffins guarded gold in distant lands. Travelers told tales of fierce winged beasts watching over hidden riches in the mountains and deserts. There is even a theory that ancient people may have found fossilized dinosaur bones in Central Asia and mistaken them for the remains of strange beaked creatures. Whether or not that is the true origin, the griffin became one of the great symbols of ancient mystery. It was not just a monster, it was a protector. A creature that stood between mankind and the treasures we were not meant to steal. Number 5. The Basilisk. The basilisk was called the king of serpents, and according to legend, it did not need claws, teeth, or fire to kill you. All it needed was a glance. Medieval stories described the basilisk as a small but deadly creature, sometimes like a serpent, sometimes like a strange rooster-snake hybrid. It was said that its gaze could kill, its breath could poison the air, its presence could wither plants and crack stone. The basilisk was fear in its purest form, a creature so deadly that even looking at it was dangerous. But like many myths, the basilisk may have grown from real fears. Snakes were already dangerous. Venom was mysterious. Disease could spread invisibly. Poisonous air, dead animals, sudden illness. These were things people did not fully understand. So they gave that invisible danger a body. The basilisk became a symbol of death that could strike without warning. A monster you could not fight directly, because by the time you saw it, it was already too late. Number 6. The Chimera. The Chimera is one of the strangest beasts in Greek mythology. It was described as a fire-breathing monster made from different animals. Usually, it had the body of a lion, the head of a goat rising from its back, and a serpent for a tail. It sounds impossible, but that was the point. The Chimera was chaos made flesh, a creature that broke the rules of nature. In Greek myth, it terrorized the land until the hero Bellerophon defeated it while riding Pegasus, the winged horse. But before that, the Chimera was seen as an unstoppable force, a living nightmare stitched together from predator, livestock, and serpent. What makes the Chimera interesting is how its name survived. Today, people still use the word chimera to describe something made from different parts. In science, fiction, and everyday language, the idea still means a strange mixture of things that should not normally belong together. The creature may be ancient, but the fear behind it is still alive. The fear that nature can twist itself into something we cannot recognize. Number 7. The Phoenix. Not every mythical creature was feared as a monster. Some were symbols of hope. The phoenix was a legendary bird connected to fire, death, and rebirth. According to many versions of the myth, the phoenix lived for a long time, burned at the end of its life, and then rose again from its own ashes. That image is powerful. A creature destroyed by flame, only to return stronger than before. Stories of the phoenix appeared in different forms across ancient traditions, including Egyptian, Greek, and later Roman writings. It became a symbol of renewal, immortality, resurrection, and the endless cycle of life. People believed the world moved in cycles, day and night, summer and winter, life and death. The phoenix gave that idea wings. It told people that destruction was not always the end. Sometimes fire was a doorway. Sometimes ashes were the beginning. Number 8. The Minotaur. Deep beneath the palace of Knossos, according to Greek myth, there was a maze called the Labyrinth. And inside that maze lived the Minotaur, half man, half bull. The Minotaur was the result of a cursed and unnatural birth, and it became a monster that had to be hidden away. Every year, young victims were sent into the labyrinth as tribute, where the creature hunted them in the dark. The hero Theseus eventually entered the maze, followed a thread to find his way back, and killed the Minotaur. But the story is more than a monster tale. Bulls were powerful symbols in ancient Crete. They appeared in art, ritual, and palace culture. The maze itself may have been inspired by the complex layout of the palace at Knossos, with its many rooms, halls, and passages. The Minotaur may represent fear of the beast within, power without reason, strength without mercy, a monster trapped in a place no one fully understood. And maybe that is why the story lasted, because everyone knows what it feels like to be lost in a maze, and everyone fears what might be waiting at the center. Number 9. The Banshee. In Irish folklore, the Banshee was not always described as a monster, but she was feared. The Banshee was a supernatural female spirit whose cry or wail was said to warn that someone was about to die. Some stories described her as an old woman with long hair. Others saw her as a pale, ghostly figure, washing blood-stained clothes or appearing near a family home before tragedy struck. The most chilling part of the Banshee legend is that she did not always cause death. She announced it. That makes her different from many creatures on this list. She was not the blade. She was the warning. In a world where death could come suddenly from sickness, war, childbirth, famine, or accident, people listened for signs. A strange cry in the night, a figure near the road, a sound carried through the wind. The Banshee gave grief a voice, and when people heard that voice, they believed death was already walking toward the door. Number 10. The Manticore. The Manticore was one of the most bizarre creatures in ancient legend. It was often described as having the body of a lion, the face of a man, and a tail like a scorpion or a deadly weapon. Some versions said it could shoot venomous spikes. Others said it devoured people whole and left no trace behind. The Manticore appeared in Persian and later Greek writings, and it became a symbol of faraway danger. To ancient audiences, lands beyond their borders were filled with strange beasts, unfamiliar people, and terrifying stories. The farther away a place was, the easier it became for imagination to fill the blank spaces. That is where creatures like the Manticore thrived. At the edge of the map, in the places travelers whispered about. The Manticore was not just an animal. It was the fear of the unknown world. The belief that somewhere beyond familiar roads, nature had created something cruel, intelligent, and hungry. And that brings us back to the vault. Because mythical creatures were never just random monsters. They were explanations, warnings, symbols. They helped ancient people understand the world before science could explain fossils, storms, disease, deep oceans, strange animal remains, and the dangers hiding in the dark. A dragon could be greed, power, or destruction. A Kraken could be the terror of the sea. A Wendigo could be hunger and corruption. A phoenix could be hope after ruin. These creatures lived in stories, but those stories came from real human fears, and that is why they survived. Because even now, with all our maps, machines, cameras, and science, part of us still wonders what might be hiding beyond the firelight. This has been MythicLoreVault. If you want more stories of myths, creatures, legends, and forgotten lore, subscribe and open the vault again next time.